E-commerce is an amazing industry in its own. It has so many variables that people need to manage. And for me, I love the different elements that it brings. You've got product design, you've got logistics, you've got sales, you've got direct to consumer, you've got B2B. There's so many elements of e-commerce that it enables people and businesses to really think hard about how to build, grow and scale a business. And e-commerce gives you those fundamentals of coming up with a great product, getting it into the hands of someone that really wants it. But all of those different dynamics, just from a business owner's perspective, it's so varied and different that I think that people that are running e-commerce businesses have to really think about how to scale and grow a business. And ultimately, as a business owner and as a person who buys products, I want amazing products. And people have got so many amazing products. It's a great way of bringing something to a market that ordinarily wouldn't get the opportunity to have it. Well, the opportunities are always there. The opportunity for you to develop a product and get it to the market, e-commerce is always going to be there. I think the essence of the question really is, are the opportunities still the same as what they were maybe 10 or 15 years ago? Well, the answer is no. The market is a lot more competitive now to what it ever has been. Of course it has. It's a much more established market. And when you're working in established markets, there's more competition. I think for the business owners and entrepreneurs that really have got amazing products, there's always going to be an opportunity. There's always an opportunity to create an amazing product and get it in the hands of the people that really want it. So no, it's not as competitive if you've got an amazing product, but yes, it is more complicated because there's more people doing it. But I should add that it's easier now than it ever has been because there's so much more information and material out there about how to do it well. You can literally go to YouTube and type in how to sell online, and it's going to give you a vast amount of information. There's more information online now than there ever has been. What is more difficult and what is changing is how you scale and grow those businesses. Getting your products in the hands of people all over the globe is much more complicated because you need a much better process to enable that to happen. And that's where business owners really need to start thinking about how they get to the next level. It's not about coming up with a product and getting it in the hands of one region. E-commerce enables global e-commerce. If your products are made somewhere in the world, you can get it to anyone, anywhere in the world. And that's what e-commerce is for me. It's about getting those products in the hands of people globally. So it is more complicated, it is more challenging, it is more competitive, but not if you do a freaking great job. Okay, standing out as a brand is very different. You need to be able to have, as part of your brand, a reason why you're a brand. What separates you from the competition? Because most brands that win are the brands that stand for something. They're the brands that mean something. And for most of those, it's about living a lifestyle, about living that brand. I'm an avid water sports person. I love spending time on the water. It probably explains the hair and everything else. But I'm going to be more inclined to buy into certain brands because of the lifestyle I keep. And that lifestyle is, yes, business, but it's also water sports. So, when you're thinking about your brand, you need to think about how you are going to be different to others. What do you actually stand for? Why is your brand important? Why should people follow your brand? And why should people buy into it? Brands are winning right now. People don't want to buy products that are sold on certain marketplaces that are just me too products, a product that anyone can sell. Those sort of products are useful products. Products like toilet roll and small gadgets that anyone needs doesn't matter about a brand. But if you want to build a global business, you need to make sure that your business has got a brand behind it and a community that enables people to really buy into what you're trying to do and how you achieve it. The biggest misconception is that it's easy. Anyone thinks that you can pick a product from China and sell it online. That couldn't be further from the truth if you want to make it a success. It's like anything new. Originally, the the Amazon, sell on Amazon, get rich quick thing was a thing. I mean, and actually, if you go back to when I first started selling on Amazon, sort of 2012, 2013, that was a thing. It worked. You know, you could sell products on Amazon relatively easy. It's not the case now. So the misconception really is that it's no longer as easy as it once was. It's no longer a get rich quick scheme. It is a solid business that done right can be very successful. Oh, that's a great one. So AI, like everyone's favorite hot topic right now, isn't it? How's it going to change? Well, I think ultimately we're never really going to know until we actually get there. My thoughts are these. One, images. Really straightforward, really easy. You can put an image into Google, take a white product photo, and we can literally put your product anywhere in the world, under anything. You can literally put it in and tell it what you want to see afterwards. So from an image perspective, we can do that really straightforward. There's no reason now why we can have images that aren't relevant to the market. We can take my product photo and put it in said country. Put it in the landmark that's most relevant to that country. So I think imaging and videoing is definitely going to change from e-commerce. We can bring more stuff to market. And the beauty of that is that from an ad perspective, we can start using that in our ads as well. How can we scale our ads much quicker? Because we can produce more content than we ever have done. The ability to produce content and get eyes on that content to then buy our products is much higher than it ever has been. So I think from a marketing perspective and an ad perspective, we've got the ability to scale brands much, much quicker. I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing is using AI to identify where demand is for your products. I think this is where something we're going at Expandly is, how do you identify where demand is for your products around the world? How do you make sure that your product's in the right country at the right time? I think AI is going to be in a great position to be able to do that. If we think about you're selling your product you're selling wedding rings in the States, and you've got a certain type of wedding ring that's for certain relevant markets. Well, how can AI help you to identify what the times are to sell it? What are the right times of year? What are the right people? What are the right markets? But also, which countries have got demand? And how do you use that demand to sell your product in greater detail? That's where I'd love to see it. Obviously, it also comes down to logistics. How can you better understand how you get the right products in the right country, how much demand you need in those products, coming on to the last subject, but also leading from that into identifying what the lead time is. How do we get your products to market sooner, and how much stock do you need in certain areas as well? So I think AI can adapt in all of those areas. The biggest win for me is about identifying gaps in markets to get your products to them in those countries. So there's a whole different vast array of platforms and marketplaces that you can use for your business. Depending on where you are selling and depending on what your products are, is going to depend widely on where's best to sell. And for me, understanding your market and your target audience will give you the idea of who you're trying to sell to and what market to be on. If you're selling a under £50 product, a great place to sell that is Amazon. Of course it is. We can't go through this without mentioning Amazon. If you're building a brand and you're really trying to build a community around what you're doing, then you're going to need to have your own website. The question comes, what other platforms and marketplaces do you need? Well, first of all, you need to identify somewhere where you can sell returns easily. For me, eBay or said other platform like that is a great way of selling products that enables you to sell damaged, unboxed products really, really easily to get them out of your network. Because if they come back to your warehouse, we've got a group of warehouses globally, we've got returns sat in those warehouses. The problem with that is you're paying us storage for those goods, when really you should have just listed it on eBay and got rid of it the moment it came through the door. So a platform like that. And then what are the other platforms in region that are best? Is it Otto, Real, Walmart, Bowl.com, Zalando? All of these are different in different countries. So you need to identify, in my experience, most people need a key marketplace, Amazon. They need their own website. They need a returns marketplace, eBay, and then 2 or 3 others that their products can be sold through. So they're the 6 recommendations I would make that every business should be on globally. Honest answer is it's difficult. It's not for the faint-hearted. But selling overseas is where you actually grow a solid business. Expanding overseas is very rewarding, it's very exciting, it's very challenging. But if you imagine that you're currently selling in your home market and in your state or your county, wherever you live, what you've got is everything local to you. And the things when you start moving overseas is nothing's local to you. It's a new way of working. It's a new way of building a business. For a business owner, it takes you to the next level in your business level, in your entrepreneurship of what you're trying to achieve. It puts you to start progressing your business in a new way that you never thought possible. The other part is that actually you can double your business by expanding. And that's the bit. If you think about today, how difficult it was to get your business to wherever you are. Let's say you're doing 5 or 10 million in e-commerce sales currently. You're doing that in your home market. Well, in order to get to that level, it wasn't easy. It's never meant to be easy. But if you want to double that by expanding overseas, which is more than feasible and more than reasonable, then you've got to expect the same level of pain. Because growing a business isn't easy. And actually we should be doing it because it's the right thing to do to protect your brand. It's the right thing to do to support your brand. And it's the right thing to get it into the people's hands who want your products. But because of that, it is difficult. It is complicated. That's where you need the right partners to support you. Yes, at Expandly, we can do that. But ultimately, you've got to be in the right position as a business to be able to scale and grow your business overseas. You need resource, you need people, you need time, and you need a global expansion plan. You've put a business plan together to get to where you are today. Expanding overseas requires an expansion plan too, but it's a specific plan. It's an expansion plan, and it's very different to a business plan. It's how you take your business from where it is and take it overseas so you can double it. Brilliant. How do you find new business? Okay, really straightforward. There's different ways that you can get attention. And ultimately, in order for you to sell your products, you need attention on your brand. 2 ways. Virtually every way solves these 2 problems. 1, paid traffic. 2, organic traffic. So the question is how much money and resource have you got to invest in paid ads? Secondly, how much time and resource have you got to put into organic traffic and building that out? You may have, depending on your brand, a load of organic traffic already coming. How is that building and growing your business? That's where you need to focus. But in order to start the business overseas, you're going to need to invest in paid traffic, because paid traffic is the fastest way of scaling your brand when you move overseas in order to get traction and to enable that business to scale and grow. But ultimately, you need to work on both as we go, because what happens is it's very easy to focus on the paid traffic. And if you're focusing on paid and forget about organic, you end up in this rut where you're constantly having to pay for traffic. And what we need to be doing is working organic and paid at the same time. Organic obviously takes longer, paid is instant. Longer term, paid doesn't work because you end up with no money left in your brand. But the second part, organic, takes longer, but eventually will reward much bigger quantities for you based on doing it right. Number 1 step to find a new market is to utilize some software that can enable you to search your products globally. There are a number around, whether you're using Helium 10, Jungle Scout, things like that, will enable you to see whether you can see whether your product has got demand overseas. Ultimately, the other way of doing that, and the real way of doing that, is actually to do a feasibility type study in region, market research. You really want to focus on the market research in those regions first and foremost. Identify the market, identify the compliance, identify the logistics that's required in those areas in order for you to drive that business in that area forward. But really, the best way of doing that is by just going online. You can go to amazon.co.uk in the UK. You can go to amazon.de in Germany. You can do that from wherever you are in the globe. And you can go and see what's already being sold in the region. You can see the demand that's being sold by your competitors. You can look at the reviews in their ranking to give an idea of amount of products they're selling. The software enables that to happen very easily. But ultimately, what you're really looking to do is to identify perhaps competitors that are already selling similar products to give an idea of how your products will be seen in the market and what you need to do in order to make it a success.